Hi everyone, Paul here. Hope you're well. I'm back for the first time in many months, which can only mean one thing, and that is that the Cheltenham Festival 2017 is right around the corner. In fact, it is about 46 hours from now. Cannot wait. Very exciting. I'm doing videos as always for the 4 days. I'm actually leaving. I've left it a bit later. You might have noticed this year compared to others. Because the theme of this winter has been Willie Mullins bingo, as I'm pretty sure everyone's seen. The craziness that is going on from the Willie Mullins yard is making any Cheltenham plans really, really tough. Some of it is not his fault. Obviously, the really sad news earlier in the season was his loss of Vitor. That was just awful. And then obviously we had injuries to Min, we had injuries to Annie Power. He lost a load of his horses from Jigginstown, so he's had a weird old season. But to be honest with you, some of it he hasn't helped himself. About 7 or 8 days ago, it was virtually certain Vroom Vroom Mag was going for the Stayers hurdle, and that Limini was going to be supplemented for the Champion hurdle. Fast forward 2 weeks, Vroom Vroom Mag's not going for the World hurdle. Limini wasn't supplemented for the Champion hurdle, and now it's been announced today they're both facing off against each other in the Mers hurdle, and that's what I mean. It's this associated chaos that goes with it, and even down to the first race, the Supreme Novice. He's still got half the field left in, and we're never going to know what he's going to do, I don't think, till the day. Just to start with this year, people are asking me and I've had it, what multiple would I do at the festival if I was going to do one. Now, I'm not going to do the obvious ones and throw in Altior and Duvan, etc. and stuff like that. So the one that I'm actually saying at the moment, and I'm just accessing my phone while I'm doing it, is if I was going to do a bet for multiple, and this is looking for value, I would do Death Duty in the Albert Bartlett, my old mate Any Currency in the cross-country race. Look for top 4 places on there. Most bookies are doing it now. Defi de Searle in the Triumph Hurdle, and Jack Adam in the Gold Cup. For example, on that, if you were to do a quid each way Yankee, it would pay just under 1,800 quid. So without going to the obvious ones, they're the ones that I would do. But anyway, this video is about day one. It's Cheltenham Festival day one, and it kicks off, as always, with the Supreme Novice. And, in line with the rest of the season, starting off with the Willie Mullins contingent seems the most sensible one. There's a horse in here which is the favourite, called Melon. Now, the only thing I can call this one is it's been a hype horse. Now, mates of mine got onto this at about 16 to 1 before Christmas and started backing it for the Supreme Novice because it was the talking horse from the yard. For whatever reason, he didn't see a race course before January or February this year. He did it well. He made mistakes. He travelled okay, though, and won as you would expect. One thing I would say is, though, he's had one run in England or the UK, and he's 3 to 1 favourite for a Supreme Novice, which, for me, if you like my mates where you've had him at 16s, fine. But 3 to 1 on a horse that's won one maiden and subsequently Shattered Love, who he beat, was smashed the next time out and beaten when he fell the next time, and the third's been beaten. I'm not saying he isn't a world horse, like in a year's time everyone's going, well, obviously he's going to win the Champion hurdle, but until he's done it, not for me at 3 to 1. For me, it comes down to form lines, and the horse that I actually at the moment I'm siding with is Bally Andy, the winner of the Champion bumper last year. I've been all over Moon Racer for this race. This has been my pick from very early on. He took to hurdles, amazing. Beat Ali Andy twice, including over course and distance, well, at Cheltenham at least anyway. And, he's looked the real deal, Moon Racer, but obviously the news came out the other day, they've decided, because of his age, to go for the Champion hurdle, and good luck to him. I think it was a good move. The Champion bumper form earlier this season was the worst line of form I've ever seen, and then suddenly since the turn of the year, it's become the best line of form I've ever seen. Bally Andy obviously has got really close runs with Moon Racer, which is great. I like that form. I think it's a good form line. But what got me last time is that he won as a novice, winning the Betfair hurdle. And what got me with that is the way he travelled through the race. It was like when he won his Champion bumper, and I've just watched that race again. Travelled like an absolute dream throughout the race, quickened up well, and I know he got weight off the one in second. I don't think it made much difference, and it was his first run for a while. If he brings that form to the party here, he's going to go very close. Form line tied in with that, move with the times. the reason I like this one, he was first run of the season, he was behind Moonracer, but he was really badly hampered and then ran on. He then came second to Ballyandy in the Betfair, giving him weight. So there's not a great deal between them there, and he is improving. So Ballyandy and Move with the Times, for me, it's the form line. It's either going to be the Irish form line or it's going to be the Betfair Champion Bumper form line, which would put him right into it. Sticking to the Champion Bumper, if you're looking for a horse at a bigger price here, look at High Bridge. He came sixth in the Champion Bumper last year, travelled really, really well, just got run out of it late on, but he's been a much improved hurdler and he just looks a bit more grown up the way he's gone about things. He's currently around 14 to 16 to 1. If you're looking for a bit of each way value, High Bridge won't be far off. I'm going to close out the Supreme Novice though with looking at two more of the Willie Mullins horses. Bunk Off Early, there's been some money for this horse. Willie Mullins trained obviously, but what's getting me now is he was second in a Group 1 last time out to Bacardi's, and Bacardi's got placed in the Champion Bumper last year and then went on and won the Aintree Bumper. Even though he showed nothing this season until then, Bacardi's, that doesn't really worry me because it's weird because all the Champion Bumper form's been nothing until Christmas and then it's suddenly taken off. So again, through with the Ballyandy, Move with the Times form line, Bunk Off Early to have a chance. But as I said, Willie Mullins as well, he's still got in Silas Emery, Let's Dance, Early Beach. They're all good horses. They've all got a chance on form. But the reason I'm happy to leave them out at the moment is the two that Ruby Walsh has been speaking about, it's at anything really, and the yard has in any event, has been Mellon and Bunk Off Early. It's a really good Supreme Novice, I think. And for that reason, I'm happy to oppose the favourite at the moment. He might prove me wrong, but 3 to 1 on a one race novice isn't for me. My 1, 2, 3 is always in this. Ballyandy from Move with the Times, and I'll put Bunk Off Early in there, actually, keeping that form line going. The Arkle is up next, as always, and I think there's a real superstar here in Altior. I know Duvan's going to be the talking horse about everything, really, Duvan, because of what he's done. But I really wish that Nicky Henderson has done what David Piper's done, and put in Altior into the champion chase, but he's leaving it for another year. I just thought with him losing Simon Tigg earlier in the year, the retirement of Sprinter Sacre, he might have just thought, you know what, these days are sacred and getting him in, say they're in one piece is hard enough. But it's not going to happen. He's going to go for the Arkle, and if he stands up, he wins. To be honest, I think he could make a mistake at every fence, but as long as he stands up, he wins. I think that horse is literally that good. Watched his Supreme win from Min last year, and it was breathtaking, and it's impossible to oppose Altior. But one thing it does give is some big each-way prices for the places. The second favourite at the moment is Charbel. Really good chase debut at Utoxeter. And last time out was a really good second to Altior at Sandown, though Altior could have beaten him by 30 lengths if he felt like it. Of interest is his hurdle form. Last year he was behind the likes of Brain Power, who's fancied in the Champion Hurdle, Yanworth, who's favourite for the Champion Hurdle, run well at the festival last year. So Charbel's, and he's fresh relatively, so he must have a good chance, and I think that's the reason he's second favourite. On a form line through Charbel, Le Pretien for Nichols Yard is good. But the one thing I would say is he didn't fully stay, I don't think, the latest. And I just think he's a bit shy of top class. Being a McManus horse as well, I think if he was up there, he would have been a lot more talked about in these weeks leading up to the festival. Horse I really like is Cloudy Dream. If you saw my video at the start of the season, I think I actually put him in my horses to follow and I've been glad I did. Really consistent chaser. Won first couple well. He then came second to Bouvredeur, giving him a load of weight and was there till the last. The one thing I would say about him is he's been getting some stick as a 2-mile chaser because he's looked one pace, which is true, but I think this hill will really help him. I think 2.5 miles is trip, or 2 mile on the Cheltenham Hill is perfect. And do you know what? He's about 14, 16 to 1. He's my idea for the forecast here, Cloudy Dream, and certainly for a place. Also got to mention Royal Caviar for Willie Mullins. Ultra consistent. He would have won the last if he didn't fall at the last, one of the Ruby Walsh specials. The big thing for him is what race. He's entered in this, he's entered in the JLT, he's entered in another one. He could go anywhere as the Willie Mullins bingo continues. But he is of interest to me over the 2-mile trip because he's proven over it. He's not proven over any further. Willie Mullins doesn't really have a viable alternative in this, so I suspect he'll go into it. It's a cracking race. I love the Arkle as always, but it should be a walk in the park for Altior first, and I'm happy to put in Cloudy Dream and Royal Caveat to cheap places. The 3 mile 1 Ultima Handicap is next, and it's a race I actually really like. It was run in really good fashion last year by Un Tempo 2. As I said, he won it dead easy. He's been hurdling a lot of this year, finishing quite well behind, you know what I mean, Harry. So that form is rock solid. His weight is set to be around the same. See, this handicap is a tight handicap, so it doesn't really make much difference to me the weight. But he must have a really good chance again off the same mark. Noble Endeavour. Fell in the 4 miler last year when he would have gone really close. He was staying on well. He was placed at the festival before then. He travels really well in his races, and I just think he's got a really good chance. He's favourite for a reason, and I think he deserves to be. One, if he runs over this trip, he interests me over this trip only, this 3 mile 1, not less, not more, is a horse called Monero at 20 to 1 for Henry de Bromhead. His best form's on good ground, which he's likely to get. And over fences, he's come second behind Thistlecrack over 3 mile. Okay, Thistlecrack won on the bridle, but he's still carried on really well. And before that, though, he's got hurdle and chase place form behind the likes of Monksland and Briar Hill. And none of them are here this time around. So I think Monero is a cracking price at 25 to 1, I've just seen now on my odds checker, which is just staggering value. Holywell always runs well at this festival. He just always does. He's won this before. He's been placed in it. He's came fourth in a Gold Cup. He's a real spring horse, but he's not getting any younger. But I think he'll run a big race. Ibis de Reur for Paul Nicholls is on a really good mark. He won the Martin Pipe last year, but he just hasn't looked a natural over fences for me. He was expected for the forecast behind Thistlecrack and just couldn't jump. Next time out, same again. I'm not saying they haven't worked on him relentlessly and now he's down in class, but it's a big field. His jumping's going to come under pressure, and it's a bit of a stab in the dark for me on this one. The horse I really like here, though, is Single Farm Payment. He's got excellent course form. He's run well every time here, and last time out over 2 mile 5, he was staying on. I reckon he would have won. I know it was a long way out, 5 out, but he was brought down. I think it may have been a blessing because his mark remains unchanged. They would have whacked him up a load more. And I think he's got a huge chance. I think this 3 mile 1 trip is perfect for him. The huge field will be perfect for him because he'll be held up out back as always and come through. He's my idea of the winner. It's a cracking renewal, but from a 1, 2, 3 here, I'm going for Single Farm Payments from Monero and Noble Endeavour. Though if Monero doesn't run, you'd have to put Untemps Port 2 into it. Champion Hurdle next, and I don't think it's a vintage Champion Hurdle, to be honest with you. There's obviously been a lot made of the likes of Fulheen coming out of it. Annie Power's injured, and it just doesn't have that feel of a classic. I might be completely wrong. Starting with the old timers, My Tentor Yours and the new one. Both are, they're so admirable horses. Love the pair of them. They've been really good for racing. The new one beat My Tentor Yours in the International, giving him weight. But both of them since have been smashed by Yanworth. And it's at their age, they could run well, but it's hard to see them winning the Champion Hurdle. Yanworth, as I said, came second at the festival last year to York Hill. I don't think he got the best ride. I know I tipped it up. I had a huge bet on him. I was there on the Wednesday. And Ruby Walsh went round the inner. Barry Geraghty went round the outer. He must have run probably 14 lengths more than everyone, going right the way around the outside. I'm not saying necessarily York Hill wouldn't have beat him, but it wasn't the best ride. And I don't think he fully saw out the trip as well, so I think the drop back to 2 is solid. He's unbeaten this year still without being spectacular, and I think it's all about this race for him. He could take some beating Yanworth. He's the second favourite, I think, at the moment. Yes, he is behind Bouvredere, but he's what I'm thinking, Yanworth. Chittibello, huge price. Run Yanworth close a few times, but it's hard to see him actually switching the form around with him, but he'll give you a good run. Petit Mouchoir has been interesting me all winter. Really solid. He's improving. He fell when he probably would have won the fight in 5th. The one thing that worries me in the Supreme Novice last year, he didn't get up the hill, and the trainer said afterwards, we travelled really well but didn't get up the hill. Okay, he might have relaxed a bit, but it's another year on, and you want a horse that gets up the hill, and he didn't, so that is really tempering my enthusiasm. Bouvredere has aborted his chase career. He won over fences without looking spectacular. They then brought him back to win a 4-horse hurdle at Sandown, beating Raven Black. Very impressive. But that suddenly has made him enough to be favourite for a Champion Hurdle, which is it's a bit weird, to be honest with you. He's a good horse, and he came 8.5 lengths behind Altior last year, got up the hill pretty well. but I don't think he should be favourite. It's as simple as that. I think he'll run very close, but I don't think he should be favourite. Brain power is improving all the time, but the one worry I've got is his one run at the course was awful, and I mean awful with a capital A. It was that bad. And if you look through it on Racing Post, his best form is in the winter months. I'm not saying he's not growing up and he's improving, but again, big stab in the dark. I'm going to have to throw Moon Racer in there because I know he's a novice going into this one, but David Pipes always raved about this horse. I've loved this horse for so long. I know he's been fragile, etc., but he's looked the real deal over hurdles. He's obviously had issues, but he's all class. He loves the course, and I think he could run a real big race. As I said, it's not a vintage renewal for me. 1, 2, 3 for the champion hurdle, Yanworth from Moon Racer, and I'm actually going to put in the new one in it because I think one of the old timers could turn back the clock a bit there and give everyone something to get excited about. The race of the day in day one is the Meuse hurdle. As I said, it's the clash we never thought would happen, but we're going to get Limini versus Vroom Vroom Mag, and Ruby Walsh has picked Limini, which I must be honest, I'm a bit surprised at. A week ago, he was going to be supplemented for the champion. It never happened. Now he's in here. The one worry I have with Limini, she does have this habit of throwing this odd bad running. Like she won the 2 mile novices one last year, brilliant. Went to Aintree and got smashed, and you're sitting there thinking, what happened? I don't understand what happened. But if you look throughout her entire career, there's so much of this going on with her, and it's a bit of a worry. Apple's Jade is an interesting one. Beat Vroom Vroom Mag first time up, though was getting £4, and Vroom Vroom Mag had some early season problems. So once again, that's not making me think that she can turn the form with her Apple's Jade. She should have won the fight in fifth after Petit Mouchoir fell, but as I said, the jockey had her in a bad position, carried on, and that's about it really. Was beaten fair and square by Limini, the latest, and the biggest one is she's never gone up to this trip. Will she stay? That's the question. The one I like, Vroom Vroom Mag, obviously won this last year. Anyone who's followed me on this knows I love this horse. I think she is completely the real deal. The amazing thing is this winter she's gone from running the champion hurdle to this, to the Stayers hurdle, to the Gold Cup being mentioned. She could have been running anywhere, but that's a sign of how good a horse she is. Solid, but my notes I've got here, solid but not spectacular this year. She does come good in the spring. I think last time she ground down Midnight Jazz, who nearly caused the upset, at Doncaster, but I think 2 mile is just too short for her now. She's a stayer, and I've always thought she was a stayer, and I think she will be bang on for this. And amazing, Ruby Walsh not riding today already at Nace, I think it is today. Paul Townend, who's going to be riding Vroom Vroom Mag's ridden both. I think he's a cracking, underrated jockey, and I think Vroom Vroom Mag is the pick for me. I said Midnight Jazz, nearly upset it last time, but no weight pull this time. Should run okay though, never proven though over 2.5 mile, and I think if she was going to beat Vroom Vroom Mag or a Principal, it was last time out. Lifeboat Mona is interesting for Paul Nicholls. She holds Midnight Jazz on the form, but once again that form is questionable. Is it up to the likes of Limini, Vroom Vroom Mag and Apple's Jade? No, I don't think so. Jers Girl is tough. But once again, on all form is held by the main market rivals and would need to suddenly come good after the break she's had. Briery Queen, if you're looking for something overpriced, who could run into a place, is 33 to 1. Done absolutely nothing wrong over hurdles at all. Stays really well. Probably better on soft ground though as won on good. I just saw her before at 33 to 1. I think if you're looking for a betting without the favourite or betting with top 4, I think that is the way to go. But it's a cracking race. The 1, 2, 3 is Vroom Vroom Mag from Limini and Apple's Jade, though. Nothing spectacular, but there you go. The National Hunt 4 Mile Chase is next, and it's so pleasing to see it was named after JT McNamara. He tragically died earlier in the season after a fall he had, funny enough, at Cheltenham. That was so sad. He was such a great guy. And yeah, I think it's a real nice touch on the course. Problem is here, we've got horses who were entered in like 5 different races again. And it's all about which one's going to go where. Champers on Ice is all stamina. And if he runs in this, I think he'll win it. I'm all over Champers on Ice. But I'm not interested in him over 3 mile or the 2.5 mile options he's got or the Kim Muir. It's got to be this 4 mile trip. He's a cracking jumper in the hole until the race quickens up and then it goes to pieces. Over 4 mile, I don't think it will happen. He came second at, you know what I mean, Harry, at the festival last year over 3 mile 1. And I think if it's the 4 mile trip he gets, he'll take all the beating. The favourite for a long time has been Genie in a Bottle, who's very similar to Champers on Ice in that he seems to be screaming out for the step up in trip. But the difference is with me, Champers on Ice has proved around the course before, Genie in a Bottle hasn't, and there's not much between the two of them, but that's what I'm basing it on. Edwulf has been money for, but this is a huge step up from 2.5 mile to 4 mile, and he's just never seemed to finish off his races well sometimes, so I can't be having Edwulf in there for me at the moment. Bells Hill had another school in fall last week, I believe. He's not a great jumper in his races. He can't jump at home, and he's failed to fire in the last 2 festivals, so I'm happy to put a line through him. Beware the Bears interesting for Nicky Henderson. They've been stepping him up in trip slowly, and he's been getting better with every step, and I think they've been eking him out to get this 4 mile trip. Ground, no issue. I think he's going to go really close as well. American actually beat Champers on Ice last time in great form, but it's hard to go from the front in this. And that what he did last time was he used pace more than stamina to beat Champers on Ice. And the further they go, I just don't think. Well, if he does, fair enough, because it'll be unbelievable. But there you go. Arpege de Len is interesting. He's got his best form is at Cheltenham, and he always seems to get outpaced. Like at Ascot last time, his jumping went to bits and he ran on. But I think this 4 mile trip could be his trip. Will Biddick is booked for it, and I think he could run a lot better race. Looking for some big price ones, Martello Tower is a festival winner. He's in and out of form, but 4 mile could suit him. 16 to 1 could be overpriced. And at a huge price of 33 to 1, Calette Mad. Decent horse, but jumping has just not been any good over 3 miles and been running on. Could improve for the step up in trip, so he could really, run a decent race at 33, 40 to 1 even in places. But for 1, 2, 3 here, I'm happy to go with Champers on Ice to be Genie in a Bottle and Beware the Bear. The final race on day 1 is the Close Brothers Handicap Chase. It's probably my least favourite race at the festival list, to be honest with you. I really don't like it because, again, horses entered everywhere. Foxtail Hill has been on my list for a lot of this winter. Course and distance winner. One thing that's clear, needs to go left-handed. Won at Kempton, but was violently diving left-handed. So, everything's fine for him. Won over the course and distance. He's fresh. He's on a really good mark. And I think they deliberately, after he won last time, in January, I think they pulled him and said, no, let's keep the mark. So I think this is a plan in action here. Squatter is up there with favourites. And he's on a really good mark. He hasn't looked a great chaser, but what's worrying me is when he got beaten in the Martin Pipe Hurdle last year at the festival, the stewards looked into it and the trainer says he didn't go at the course. So, unless, I don't know, how can you not go at the course and suddenly you're 10 to 1 favourite and you do go at the course? I'm struggling with that. And for that reason, at such a short price, I'm happy to oppose Squatter on there. A horse I do like is Heron Heights. He's a good horse. Forget about his last run. His dropped to 2 mile, which has not helped. He's won over 3 mile at this course, so the 2.5 mile is not a problem. He's multi-entered, but I just think this turns into a real slog, this 2.5 mile. So if he runs over this trip, 16 to 1 is a massive price on Heron Heights, and I'd be happy to put him in. Double W's is interested. He's run well at the course over hurdles, but he's an in and out kind of horse. But if he puts it all in on the day, he could run a huge race. It's the same with Bundoran. He's consistent, but he can throw in the odd howler like he did last time, and his jumping went to pieces. And his best form is on soft, and again, he's short enough for me. Mixed Boy. Keith Dalglish sent him a long way. He's an improving chaser, but this is a huge step up in class for him here. He could be ahead of the handicapper then, and if that's the case, he could run a mighty race again, 16 to 1. Old Zamdy man, ultra consistent, stays well, but his best form is on flat tracks for me. And he's got top weight. He's never gone well round the course, and that is a huge worry. It's a Freebie. He's on a good mark. But for me, he hasn't looked a natural chaser. Brilliant debut, and then never really happened for him since. Don't know if it was a swizz to get his mark down, but again, I'd be kind of sitting there thinking, I don't know, for me, and that's I want someone who I think is gonna take to the course, take to the conditions, and I can't put that on him. Value at Risk again, a very consistent horse for the Skeltons. Forget the comeback run. He was wrong after it. I read he's been kept fresh for this. He's run well at the course before. I think Value at Risk is going to be a big danger to all here. And the final horse to mention, Potter's Legend. Good course and distance, second latest, so he goes well at the course. And the other thing I would say is he's on a good mark because he's been running well, but not been winning. He's been coming second, third, third. So he can eke up the handicap, but not get smashed by it. And he did really take a liking to the course. 20-1 Potter's Legend. That is huge. Huge price, I think. But he's interested this trip. Again, he's multi-entered over 2 mile, 2.5 and 3 mile. He doesn't really interest me in another one. I think this is Potter's Legend trip. As always, it's a really tricky enter day one, but I'm happy to go with Foxtail Hill from Potter's Legend and Heron Heights. Fingers crossed they all run in this race. That's it for day one. Day two will come maybe tomorrow, might be Tuesday. I might just let the bingo factor come out of it and start to get some more decks. As always, comment, let me know who you're doing, and thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.